Hello, I'm Laura from the Information Technology Department. I'm a librarian here at Mercer County Library System, and today we'll be continuing our series on the virtual branch. The virtual branch is where we have our online content, such as digital versions of ebooks, audiobooks, movies, magazines, and music. The Freegal database is a music database, and so we'll be taking a look at that today. We also have videos on all of the other components of our virtual branch, so if you're interested in some of the other digital downloads we have available, do make sure to check out the other videos that are in this series on the virtual branch playlist. They'll also be linked, as you see here, on the virtual branch page. In order to get to this page, you want to go to our website, which is www.mcl.org, and you'll look under branches and you'll see virtual branch listed there. When you click on that link, you'll get taken to this page that we're looking at right now, which has an alphabetical listing of the virtual branch components, which include EBSCO eBooks, eLibrary NJ, which does audiobooks and ebooks. We have the Flipster magazine search. We have the Freegal music search, which we'll be talking about today. We also have the Hoopla digital content service, which has movies, comics, audiobooks, music, and TV shows, as well as ebooks. So what we're going to take a look at now is Freegal. So if you were to click on Freegal, you'll be taken to the page we have here. And at the top, you'll see all the way to the right, there's a log out button. That is usually a log in button when you first come to the page. In order to log in, you do not have to create an account with this service. You already have an account automatically by virtue of having a library card with us. So what you'll be asked for is to enter in your library barcode number. This is a series of 14 digits that you will find at the bottom of the label on the back of your library card. You'll see the barcode above it, and right below it you'll see the 14 digits. You want to enter in all of those without any spaces. You will also be asked to enter an email if you wish to opt in to the notification service. You do not have to enter in your email if you do not want to. Freegal does not sell email addresses. They simply use them as a way to remind you that you have downloads available. We'll talk about the downloads and the streaming aspect of this database in a little while, but just so you know, the email address is not going to be sold, so you don't have any privacy concerns there, and it's just really used to remind you that you could use the service this week if you have not already completed any downloads. So what exactly is the Freegal Music service? It's a service that provides full audio files of different music genres, and it is basically comprised of the Sony Music holdings. If you watch the video on the Hoopla service, Hoopla has all of the other music available outside of the Sony labels. So between Hoopla and this particular product, you get a full range of all of the music that's available. Like the Hoopla service, there is no embargo. If something is available today in iTunes or Amazon Music or on Spotify or Pandora, you'll be able to find it here as well. Each week, every user is allotted 3 downloads. They are full versions of a song that do not have any rights or expiration dates that you have to worry about. It is an MP3 that you're going to download, and you can keep them and transfer them to however many devices you need to. So they're yours to keep once you've downloaded them. Each day, you're also allowed to stream 3 hours of music. So that is what would be used in terms of that email. You won't get a reminder that you have 3 hours of streaming available that day, but at the end of each week, you'll be reminded that you have 3 downloads available. So theoretically, you could work through downloading an entire album over a series of weeks by using your 3 downloads. So let's take a look at the service. What we're looking at here is the main page, which comes up at the top as the featured items. You'll also see there's recently played and wish list. As you go through the service, things that you've either played as a playlist or that you've downloaded will show up in your recently played area. The wish list is where you can park things that you're interested in downloading or listening to at a later date. Again, we'll look at those. Considering that you have 3 downloads per week, it's one of those areas where if you see songs that you're looking for and you want to remind yourself to download those, you can go ahead and add those to your wish list. On the left, we'll also see a little bit more navigation. You can go to the home page, which is where we are now. You can also browse, and you can also look at My Music, which is another way to access items that you've recently played or downloaded. Be aware that the service is conscious of the fact that there are oftentimes disruptions in internet service and that you may start a download and lose that, or something may go wrong. If you do have an issue with downloading a song, you can go into the My Music area and you'll see the songs that you've already downloaded listed, and you will be able to download them again during that week that you picked them as one of your downloads. We're going to take a look at some music videos as well. I mention these because if you watch music videos on here, they count for 2 downloads. Each music video counts against 2 downloads for that week. So if you're planning on downloading songs, you can have 3 songs, or you can watch 1 video and download a song. Okay, so at the top of this page, we have featured playlists. And you'll see you can click on whatever's there, or you can click View All. I'm going to click View All so we can get a broader sense of what is available in the playlist area. These playlists are things that the people at Freegal have put together around a common theme. The theme usually is either a genre, or we see the 1980s rewind here. During February, you'll see love songs, Valentine's stuff. This is being recorded in May, so we're seeing a Mother's Day playlist. But then you'll see other cutesy playlists in here, like the classic cleaning playlist. So if you want something to motivate you to get up and clean, you'll see they have a playlist for that. If you click on any one of the playlists, I'm going to click on the Mother's Day one. It does tell you how many songs there are, 79 songs in this. So what I could do at this point is, if I like what's on here, I can just hit to the right. We have this shuffle option, or stream. So if I hit stream, it's just going to play through the playlist completely. If I hit shuffle, it's going to randomly play the items on the playlist. The other thing you'll see is, as you're going down the list, next to the title, you'll also see a play button as well. I should mention that it's really a good idea to log in before you actually get started, because as you're searching, some of these options won't be available to you. Of course, at any point, if you hadn't logged in already, you could just go ahead and click the login button at the top and enter in your barcode. So again, with the song listing, you can always click the play button and hear the song. These are all hot links as well. So if you're looking at a playlist and you decide, okay, I like Ozzy Osbourne, or I want to hear what else is on this particular album, you can go ahead and click it. On the right, when you're looking at a playlist, you'll see there's a checkbox available. If you don't want to play everything that's in the playlist and you want to just play random songs, you can go ahead and check off the ones you're interested in listening to. Then when you hit stream or shuffle, only those songs will be included in the streaming portion of your listening. You'll skip these other songs. Note that there's also a little menu. This is often called the meatball menu because it's got 3 dots that resemble a meatball. And if you click on that, you'll see that you have the option to download, or add to a playlist, or add to wish list. So as I mentioned earlier, the wish list is an area you can park things that you want to listen to later, or perhaps you'd like to download. So this is where you can add items to your wish list. The other thing too is, you'll see you can add to a playlist, and when I do that, I get the option to either add to an existing playlist in my account, or I can create a brand new playlist. So if you want to take some of these songs, because if you want to listen to this playlist again, but you don't want to go through and have to check only the songs you're interested in, you can go ahead and create your own playlist. The other option you have, and I should mention, even though I've checked multiple things off, this meatball menu only controls that particular song. So if I add this to my class playlist, it's going to add only that song to my playlist. So the other item in the meatball menu is the download. If you're on a curated playlist, which is what these are called, curated playlists, if you want to download that specific song, you just want to go ahead and click download from this meatball menu. So that's essentially the way playlists work. I'm going to go back to the home page, or the featured page, I should say, and we're going to take a view. We're going to click View All again for the playlist, so you get an idea that there are different genres in here. So we've got a Miles Davis. So if you're into jazz, you can find a jazz playlist. There's a Latinx. There's a National Poetry Month. There's also, like I said, motivation, exercise, all kinds of things that are related to, like I said, particular topics, or you might have a particular holiday, you'll see. There are also other things in here that have been, like I said, curated from other libraries. So we're looking here, we see the Los Angeles Public Library has created a Teenscapes Car Rides playlist. So this is an area where you can kind of go in and explore. If you find a topic or a genre that catches your eye, maybe you'll find some songs that you're not quite aware of or artists that you're not aware of by perusing these playlists. So if you're not sure what you even want to browse for, starting with the featured page and looking at the curated playlists is a pretty good idea of where you want to get started. On the right, you'll also see if you've played any recently played any playlists, they'll appear here. So again, just simply by listening to a playlist, it's going to add it to an area here so you have a quick area, a way to jump right back into that playlist. I'm going to go back to the home page so we can continue to explore. You'll also see underneath the featured playlists are featured songs. So these songs are ones that are either doing really well in terms of use, or they're popular right now. So you can see some of the popular artists we're seeing, like Camila Cabello or H.E.R., Khalid. So there's stuff in here that's modern and current, as well as classics and other genres. So we'll take a look at that list of the featured songs. And when you're looking at a list of songs, whether it's something you searched for, or whether you're looking at the featured songs, or it's an album list, you'll see the display is slightly different from the playlist. Like the playlist, you can go ahead and check certain ones, or you can check all of them. And you'll see here what I just clicked next to this checkbox. This is often called the hamburger menu because it's a set of horizontal lines that resemble a hamburger or stacked sandwich. So clicking on the hamburger menu brings up what we had seen in the meatball menu previously, where I can clear all the selected, I can add items individually or as a bulk to the playlist, or I can add the selected items to my wish list. I can't download from here, as you can see, because I'm clicking the hamburger menu at the top, which is controlling these multiple songs. So I had clicked all on, but like we had seen with the playlist, I can click individual ones by clicking within their individual selection boxes. The hamburger menu now will be able to be used to just download, not download, but add to the playlist or your wish list just those items that you've checked off. The songs themselves, you'll see the meatball menu that we had seen in the playlist is expanded. So the star is where you're going to add to a wish list. This middle one with the hamburger menu and a plus is going to add to a playlist, or you can create a new playlist. And this down arrow is, of course, your download option. So at any time you want to download any one of these, you just have to click that download and you'll get the song downloaded for you. You also have the play option on the cover art like we saw in the playlist, so you can play these songs specifically. Okay, so going back to the home page, underneath of featured songs, you see featured albums. Again, this works very similar to the ones we've already seen. You're going to see cover art for the albums, and it is going to highlight things that are, of course, popular at the time amongst other users, as well as popular in terms of the charts, and also the newest stuff. So if you're going to just want to come in and see what's new, you're going to be able to do that. And you'll also see, just by scrolling through this, it's covering all genres basically. So we've got some Stravinsky in here, we've got some Latinx, we've got some pop, we've got some rock. So you're just basically browsing what's new, what's popular. And when I click on one of those, I'm going to click on this Bush album, what you're going to see is very similar to what we saw under the featured songs list. Once you're within an album, everything works pretty much the same way as we've seen in the two previous lists. Like the playlist, you can stream the entire album or you can shuffle the album. And like the songs, the featured songs list, you can select all and then use the hamburger menu to either add these all to a playlist or to your wish list, or you can individually add songs or select multiples using the checkboxes to either add to your wish list a playlist. And for individual songs, you can use the download. Okay, back to the home page. I mentioned those videos earlier. So here are your featured music videos. And as I said earlier, if you watch one of these, it's going to count against 2 of your downloads for the week. So again, we have the view area or view all list, and it's just going to give you the featured videos. And if you click on one, it's going to play in a pop-up player, much like you would see on YouTube, and you'll see the video. You'll also note at the top, I should have mentioned this earlier, in the middle, you'll have your downloads 3 countdown and your streaming 3 hours. So as you're going through this and downloading and streaming, this will update in real time, so you'll be able to see how many downloads you have left or how many hours you can stream. I should have also mentioned at the beginning of this class, there is indeed a Freegal app. So if you'd like to use the streaming feature or download directly to your phone or tablet, do go into either the App Store or the Google Play Store and look for the Freegal app. When you open the Freegal app, it works almost identically to this website. Again, you'll be asked to enter your barcode number. You may also be asked to use your location prior to that to locate a library near you. If you do, remember to look for Mercer County Library System. Some of you may be tempted to look for your local branch. Don't do that. Just look for the Mercer County Library System entry, and you'll be able to then enter in your barcode number and access the features of this service. Okay, back on the home page, you'll notice down here there are some audiobooks in here as well, and there's also a featured artist area. So the audiobooks, there are limited audiobooks in this system. A lot of it's classics, and there's a lot of comedy in here as well. So, you might find something that's of interest to you. Basically, they're mostly streaming, so you're going to be able to just stream, and that will count against your 3 hours as you're streaming them. So if you kind of pop in here and maybe listen to one chapter or some poems, I saw there was a poetry one in here as well. And we have the Sherlock Holmes tales, so they're short stories. You may end up using only a few minutes out of your allotted 3 hours. But if you're going to listen through the whole book, if it's got something like an 8-hour playtime, you will only have to be able to do 3 hours in one day, and you'd have to keep coming back until it was completed. So just be aware that the audiobooks are there. They don't tend to be current titles or even popular fiction because of publisher limitations. So just be aware, like I said, that they'll count against your streaming, and they're there if you're interested in some of the titles. Okay, back to the home page. The last thing on the home page was the featured artist area. I'm going to go ahead and click View All. So again, you're going to see we've got everything from Blink-182 and Dandy Yankee to some different Latinx and classical music, as well as country and jazz. So there's a lot in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on Blink-182. So you're going to see here we've got songs listed, and you're going to see where they've been featured and there are any playlists that they're featured on. So in this particular case, you're going to see some of these also featured on. Be aware there's a lot of karaoke and other compilations that are available in this system. So you may see, lists of different things that are not actually the artist because they're karaoke or tribute albums. If I go ahead for songs and click View All, you'll get a list of all of their songs. Now, it's a little confusing because there's no album list for the artist page. So I suggest if you're looking to hear an entire album from a particular artist, go to the songs and click on that View All Songs, because now what you've got available to you is that full listing. So if I see the album I'm interested in listed here, since that's a hot link, I can go to it. So if I want to see 9 by Blink-182, I can just click that on from the song list and go right to the full listing for that album. So then I'm now on the page where I can stream or shuffle. At any one point in time, you can go up here and search as well. So if I do a search for Madonna, I'm going to go find a list of, again, artists, songs, albums, music videos, and of course the playlists, and even an audiobook. So if I want to listen to Madonna, I can click on the artist listing, and then you'll see a full listing of what's available. So we have the very best of Madonna in here, Volume 1, are listed as the albums. So now that I'm looking at this, I'm kind of curious as to why Blink-182 did not have an album section, but apparently I was incorrect previously, and there is usually an album section, but there was not one for Blink-182. But as you can see here for Madonna, there is indeed an album area, so you could click on that as well. Okay, you can also browse. I'm going to click on the browse area, and you'll see we can browse by all the types of things we saw on the front page, the playlists, the songs, the albums, the artists. They're all here, the music videos, the audiobooks. A couple of other things, though. You'll notice the menu bar at the top changes. So one thing you're seeing here is you're seeing the trending items. So this is what's popular in terms of what other library patrons are using, both in our system and in the Freegal universe in general. So like we saw, the Los Angeles Public Library has some curated lists. They obviously subscribe. So you're also seeing what's popular in LA. The other thing you'll see is new arrivals. So again, if you're a frequent user of this service and you just want to see what's new, you can go in and click New Arrivals, and you'll see lists for new songs, any new playlists they've added, any new albums, if an artist was added or not. One thing I will mention about this service is that there are certain things that sometimes will be embargoed or removed from the service temporarily. So if you do have an album that you're downloading songs from, be aware as a possibility from month to month they may disappear. It rarely happens, but it may happen on occasion. So just so you're aware, if you see something disappear, don't think it's gone forever. There's always a possibility that it'll arrive again in a couple of months. You might see it pop up. So again, we're looking at new arrivals, and as I mentioned earlier, as soon as something's released and is available, it will show up in here as well. So basically, at this point in time, you could just browse and see, what maybe has arrived since the last time you used the service. You can also do a genre browse, and as I mentioned earlier, we have quite a lot of genres. They have them arranged with the top genre. So if you're looking for your general pop, rock, jazz, folk, you'll see that. But then under the additional genres, you might see, if you're a folk fan, you might find the Americana, or the folk and blues. So be aware that the additional genres are an area where you might find a more refined way to search without having to do a full search. The playlists, likewise, are also curated here so that you can browse the full list of playlists. Here they are also arranged by topic, so you're seeing the featured ones, but I had mentioned earlier that they have topics that might have to do with maybe exercising or motivation to do your cleaning. We saw some of those. So you'll see right now they've got artists as a playlist. They also have playlists for moods and activities. So again, if you just want to look at those types of playlists, you can click the View All. And now we're looking at just the mood and activity playlists. You also have an area where you can browse by artists, and again, featured artists, and you're going to see new artists. But anytime you click View All, you're going to get the full list. And likewise, they have the music videos and the audiobooks as well, where you're going to see the featured, the top, and the newest. Okay, I'm going to go home, and I'm actually going to play one of the playlists. I'm going to play the 1980s playlist. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle that. And, you're not going to hear the volume from this because of the way I'm recording this video. Okay. And you'll see when you go ahead and play, you're going to get the player on the bottom. And you can have the pause button, which can toggle into the play button. You'll also have the rewind and the fast forward button. You'll have your timer here, so you can see as you're playing the song, you got a blue bar going across to let you know how much has passed in terms of the song. So 9 seconds we've played into the song. There's another 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. And then you can turn the repeat on or off. You can turn the shuffle on or off. There's a volume controller here. You can also use the volume control on your PC or if you're using this on the app within your phone. There's also a drop down to the right, or I should say a scrolling list to the right, which will give you the list of songs that you've selected. I selected this entire list, not just pieces of it. So if I were to go over to this right and start kind of scrolling down, you'll see every item on here is in this list. If you want to close the player, you just hit the X. Now, I had mentioned earlier the recently played playlists area. That's what you're going to see now here on the right. So I played this Radio Rewind from the 1980s, and that's a playlist that now will show up everywhere when I go to recently played or when I'm in the My Music area. I'm going to go ahead to the home page because I want to add a few more things in here. So I'm going to click on this. It's a Smash 1990s, and I'm going to go ahead and download Will Smith's Men in Black. So what you'll see is, like almost anything else, you will get a pop-up asking if you'd like to save this. You can go ahead and save it wherever you'd like on your computer. Just for the heck of it, I'm just going to leave it on my desktop right now. And then you can control that particular file however you need to. You can transfer it, you can leave it on your computer, you can put it in a different folder, and whatever it is you want to do with it, that's now yours to keep. So now I own Men in Black from Will Smith, and I can play it as many times as I want. It does not expire after the week, even though I've downloaded it this week. Since I mentioned these were real-time updated at the top, you'll now see since I've downloaded Will Smith, I now have 2 downloads for this week. I also played 9 seconds of that one playlist, so I have 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 51 seconds remaining on my 3-hour allotment for today's streaming. Okay, so if I go to My Music at this point in time, I had mentioned earlier that if you downloaded a song and your download became or was interrupted for some reason and it did not complete, you can always go to the My Music area, and this is where you'll see the songs that you've attempted to download, and you'll also see your recently played playlists. If you've got any playlists, you'll see at the top, this is just the song area that we're looking at on My Music. I should have mentioned before I move on that there is another meatball menu here with the Men in Black, and you can click on it and you can re-download. And there's a little explanation here about the menu button, 3 stacked dots, meatball. So that explains this whole thing that I just went over with you. So if you get lost and can't remember what you need to do, if you need to re-download a song, just click on My Music and go to Songs, and you get this nice explanation as to how you can download a song again, which you can see here. You have 3 times you can actually download the song. Now back to the playlists. We've got recently played playlists. Earlier you saw me put a particular song on my class playlist, which I use during teaching this class when I teach it live. This is where I can find my personalized playlists, and this is that class playlist. I have options here. I can click on the class playlist and see it. As I scroll over it, you'll see I get another meatball menu. If I click on the 3 dots, I can add the songs on here to my wish list, or I can share to a library. So this is where, if you wanted to share this with the library, like that Los Angeles Public Library list we saw, we will now see this in our end as administrators for Mercer County Library System, that somebody has submitted a playlist that they think should be included in this system. We now have the option to review that. So, if you think you've curated a good playlist and you'd like to share it with us, you can go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, it doesn't always end up getting into the system. So basically, you probably should keep these playlists for yourself, but you could share that if you needed to or wanted to. The class playlist, if I click on it, I'm going to get a list that looks exactly like the curated playlists, and I can go ahead and click on all of them or some of them and hit the stream or shuffle if I'd like to. Up here we have a gear, and this is where we can do additional things, such as share it with us to consider as adding a playlist for our patrons just like you, or I can rename it, or I can just completely delete the playlist. Going back to My Music, you can also see the My Music Videos area, and again, if you've watched one of the music videos, it counts against 2 of your downloads, but you can go back to this page if it got interrupted or you want to rewatch it during the week. You can go ahead and do that. Audiobooks, same deal. If you happen to be listening to an audiobook and you wanted to re-download it, you can go ahead and do that. If you've added anything to your wish list, it would appear here. I'm just going to go back to the main page, and I'm going to go ahead and favorite a song just so we can see what that looks like. So again, you saw a note at the bottom that said we had added something to our playlist or our wish list. So if I click on My Music again and then click on Wish Lists, you'll see that song I added was there. And again, I have the option with the meatball menu to either download it, add it to a playlist, or remove it from my wish list. And you'll see we have songs. If you've added any videos or audiobooks to your wish list, they'll show up here as well. So as I mentioned earlier, as you're browsing and you're maybe not sure what you want to download because you've only got the 3 downloads for the week, you can go ahead and add things to your wish list. Then when you're finished searching around and browsing, then maybe you can add a few things. You'll be able to select 3 songs that you decide you really want. You can download them, and then you can remove them from your wish list if you'd like, and then come back next week and continue downloading items from your wish list. Okay, just a couple of things to wrap this up. There is an advanced search. We had done the Madonna search earlier. The advanced search allows you to pick what you're looking for, songs, albums, whatever, so you don't get a full list. When we did that Madonna search, we got a lot of different things. If I knew I was specifically looking for the artist Madonna, I could go in there and change this that I'm only going to look in the artist area. Now what I can do is in these boxes here, I can put that in there, Madonna. I could also keep it as select all and then just use the artist box itself to specify Madonna, and I will get that returned to me. You can also look by song, the album book title. If you know there was a playlist that you had looked at before and you're having a hard time finding it browsing, you can go ahead and look in here as well. Because this does, of course, include a lot of other genres other than just the pop rock that seems to be featured in the main area. We do have an area where you can put in the composer. So the artist in classical music tends to come up as the symphony or the musical body that's playing the music, but if you're looking for a specific composer, you want something from Bach or Beethoven, you can go in and use the composer box as well. There's also the label area. I mentioned these are Sony music. Sony Music has a large holding collection of sub-labels, so if you're looking for things that you might know is a rap label or does country music and you want to look for just artists that are under that label, you can go ahead and do that. The other thing is you could also search by genre. So if you wanted country music or jazz, you could go ahead and do that. Then you can go ahead and hit your search. You can put as many things in here as you want or as few. One thing that we always have to remind you as librarians that the more items you put in here, the more restrictive your search is. So if you aren't sure what you're going to find, you could start small and do a search. If you get way too many results, go back to the advanced search, add some more things to limit the search. If you put in a lot of stuff here and you get almost no results or you're not happy with the results you get, start removing things and pretty much massage your search that way. The last thing I wanted to mention is there is a help area here. So if you click on this question mark, you will indeed get a help menu that you can navigate through. And this meatball menu is where you can find settings. So I'm not going to click on this because my personal email is in here, but you'll have to be aware that this notifications area is where you can go in and add your email address if you haven't done so and you'd like to, or you can remove your email address. There's also some terms of use, support information, and a fax area. So if you would like to just peruse the fax instead of looking in the help section for information, you can do that as well. So down here, I'll just point out, I had mentioned earlier, there's an app, so there's a direct link here to get the Google Play Store version or the Apple App Store version. And you'll notice, I mentioned earlier, the recently played playlists. This particular area carries over every area of this particular database. So no matter what page you're on, you're going to see your recently played playlists. The other thing about this is, since it is a streaming service, if you click on one of these playlists and you get that that bar that we had at the bottom, be aware you can just continue searching or using your computer as you normally would. You can minimize your browser. As long as your session is active, you'll be able to continue listening to those songs on your playlists for the 3 hours that you were allotted for that day. And you can continue using your PC. So I hope you enjoy using our Freegal music service. And if you have any questions, you can, of course, contact a librarian at any one of our branches, or you can contact our support. A link to our support is on our website, www.mcl.org, and you can look for us under Contact Us or About Us and on our website, and you'll be able to get into that support question, and we'd be glad to help you out. Happy listening.